Hello everyone, Kaye and Karen here for a midweek catch-up, and for some inexplicable reason, Karen seems very keen for me to retire to the sun, so we thought that we would talk about that.
Yeah, I didn't realise I was going on and on about it.
Well, you do mention it quite a lot. You know, why don't you go to Spain? Why don't you go to Spain? Why don't you go to Spain? I mean, I'm starting to think...
Well, you've got a place there. Why don't you go to Spain?
No, I tell you what. See, this morning, just as a little tangent, I could have got on the first flight to Spain. So I leave the house at, 5 to 7 in the morning. Mm-hmm. It was so windy. It was so wet. I was wrestling. So it's about 25 minutes walk. Yeah. I was wrestling with this golf umbrella. I couldn't get it up.
You see, that's your first mistake.
And then when
a golf umbrella in the wind.
Was really when I could find it.
Mary
at
Poppins.
In the morning. Well, I know. I nearly floated over the Clyde. And so I couldn't get up, and then I got it up, and then they phoned me on the way to discuss what we're going to do in the programme.
Can you thing?
I've got the phone under one ear, the golf umbrella sort of under the other ear, trying to stop myself from taking off.
Ah, for God's sakes.
And my hair was like all over the place, all over my face, so I couldn't see. I thought, Jesus, I've had enough. I felt defeated.
You thought, do you know what? I could do with going to the sun, spending a couple of months.
I did. Sun. I did.
I know. Right, get yourself a decent waterproof or Gore-Tex with a hood on it so you don't have to carry it.
I did have
So why are we carrying an umbrella?
Well, I mean, I did have a hood up and everything, but it was... Were you up at 10 to 7 this morning? It was chucking it down.
I know, but you just need a little tie to get it tight round the chin. And get your earbuds in so you're not holding a phone.
Oh, no.
God almighty, Kaye.
Yeah, okay, I agree. I could have been better equipped, but it wasn't going to make it pleasant.
No, that certainly wasn't pleasant.
Not going to make
so
it
did
pleasant.
you rethink then your, not objections, but your kind of apathy towards...
Well, it was just that blinding sort of flash. You think, why do I persist with this? This is miserable.
And did you answer that question?
No, because I had to start talking to them.
To the nation.
God. Would you ever do it then? I mean, you keep going on about me. Would you ever do it?
Well, you see, now that Tulip is here,
see, that's it.
That puts a different spin on everything now,
so
isn't it?
Is that it? That is the sort of crucial factor, is it?
Yeah, I couldn't move out. I mean, it would be nice to go maybe a couple of months, as you say, like November, December, or January, February, and then they would maybe come out for a week while I was out there. But then I would need to take the dog out as well. But that's doable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
But you're not sort of like driven to do it?
No, I'm not. I think if it was just me and Stephen and no dog and no grandchild, I probably would, because then the kids could just come out any time. But I have to say, as you're explaining that weather there is so much of it. Even this morning when I was in the park, I came back with my Gore-Tex on and I think it was leaking. I had a damp patch at my toe as well. So yeah, it's not great. And you just think, you've got to thole it. I do like the fact that there's different types of weather here. Not the shit that we were talking about just now, but, you know, yesterday was so mild. It was so lovely. I was out in the greenhouse, and then today you're just like, back to that again. But you know what? Come March, another month, and we'll be fine.
Yeah. I wonder how much of it, because so many people do dream of retiring to the sun, don't they? And, you know, you get television programmes and all the rest of it. I wonder how much is actually thinking your life is going to be better there, and how much is, like, dissatisfaction with your life
I actually
here.
think you've pinned it there. I think you're right. I think it's dissatisfaction with the weather here.
Yeah.
See, if the weather was better here, everything would be better.
Is everything about it? Well, we put this out on Instagram, on my Instagram. Sorry, I'm not going to bring it up again.
I know. I want Instagram back.
Lisa Timeless says, I think about it every day, and I know one day I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to go and live my best life.
Right.
I thought, God, that's... And then, so we've got 55. I hope to make this happen next year. I'm 63 in May, live in Glasgow. I cannot cope anymore with this weather. Just me and the dog are off. And then we've got Loo. 13 years till retirement, if I last that long.
Oh.
Absolutely plan on spending November and January elsewhere. This is quite miserable. Wouldn't be bothered about creating a new social life, to be honest. And then she says, Jesus, I sound doer.
No, I can see that.
What?
I mean, I wouldn't be bothered creating a new social life, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah. I'd probably just transfer what I have here to over there.
But how could you do that? You're not going to take everybody with you.
No, I mean my gardening and my reading and my, I could quite happily potter about on my own, just do my own thing, wandering around, using wherever you are as a base. No, I would invite them out to see me, like for a week at a time, and that would be enough. And then by the time they left, I'd be quite happy to have a week on my own again.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, see, the thought of that makes me anxious, and that's funny because it's not as if I even see that many people because
you're always working.
I'm always working. Though I've got news on that. Well, I don't know. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. I don't really have news on that. So that I'm trying to sort of get myself a social life. But so it's not even that I do lots of social things.
Yes.
But I just have this idea, this anxiety about being in a foreign place and just not having those contacts, and it just makes me
feelings of isolation.
Whereas I think it's interesting that wouldn't bother you. You think you'd be quite content.
I think I would be. I'm quite happy on my own. Just if I got good books and I got the dog and a bit of walking, seeing different places, using that as a base and then going to different places. Oh my God, aye.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, got other people here. Annette Lang says, I wouldn't go anywhere. I like the seasons. She says, I was in Florida once at Christmas. It wasn't for me.
No.
Joanne says, I love living here. We have a place inspired by Spain.
What's that mean?
Yeah, hot and cold running sangria. I'd never think of moving there. I love the fact that my friends are true friends from years ago and I can visit within minutes if I need. Right. And Anne says so many other things are more important than the sun, like having family and friends around us. I wouldn't go away for more than a month because I would miss them all too much.
A month's a fair time, isn't it?
Yeah.
To go away.
But then you're saying you would stay for Tulip. What would you do if Lisa said, right, me, Adam and Tulip are emigrating to Australia?
Christ, well, I'd be quite upset. Do you want me to start crying now? Because I might.
Would it?
Aha. I mean, Lisa, when she finished between school and uni, before she's even 18, she did a year out in New Zealand. God, she loved it so much, she went back out again. I thought, I'm losing her to New Zealand. And then her and Adam went out for the honeymoon. I thought, for God's sakes. But to go out with Tulip as well, that would be rough.
Yeah.
I would find that hard.
Yeah.
So New Zealand's still a possibility, but
two of your sisters, one went to America, one went to
New Zealand.
Yeah. So what impact did that have on the family?
I don't know,
you weren't
actually.
bothered, were you? Because
I thought, I'll get some holidays in Chicago and I'll go out to New Zealand, which is what I did.
But was your mum and dad, did they bother?
Yeah, I think so. They certainly went out to see both Kerry, Norma as she was, in Chicago, and they had been out to New Zealand as well. Did they go out to New Zealand? Yeah, they must have gone out to New Zealand. Christ, did they go out? I don't know.
They're a very close family.
Oh God, they've been dead a number of years now. 15 years at least.
Yeah.
I sure to God they went out to New Zealand, for God's sakes. Can't remember. We are a very close family.
Do you remember your sisters' names? Yes, thank you. Yeah.
So, yeah, God, when you think of it now, I'm sure they must have thought, oh my God, how often will we see them?
See, I'm like you. I mean, if my two said that they were going to emigrate, like permanently emigrate,
yeah,
I don't know what I'd do. I mean, I would be bereft. I met a guy on a plane once, actually, whose son had gone out to America on a scholarship and settled down, met a girl, blah, 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 only son, and so mum and dad, I was sitting next to dad in the plane, went out as well. And so at the age of, funnily enough, about 59, and he had a very successful business here in the UK.
Is that right?
He and his wife upsticked and off they went to the States to be beside the son.
Oh my God. Now they've got to be invited out. You can't just land yourself.
He had a bit of money.
No, what I mean is, you can't just say, oh, by the way, we're thinking about it and we'll miss you, so we're going to come out as well.
Well, yeah, that would be tricky.
You have to be invited. You can't just expect to be welcome.
First time I've heard you say that. I saw you in the past. So we have got lots of people who've done it. Do you want to hear from them?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is from Maria Reid. My hubby and I sold up our business and home in 2018 to make a new life in southwest France.
God, that sounds great, doesn't it?
5 grown-up children, weren't sure we would do it, but we moved to our beautiful French farmhouse in the Haute-Vienne.
Wow.
And we haven't looked back. We did our homework, made sure we could support ourselves. I've got a rare cancer. He's got atrial fibrillation, but the healthcare is amazing. We work very hard to speak French as well. It's a big thing.
That is a massive thing.
It shocked us at how many expats live here and complain about the UK still. We love our life and run our 2-bedroom gîte in a typical village for a couple of months a year. Currently raining here today, she says, but the way of life is just what we wanted.
That's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's brave. To go out and you've got a wee bit of, your health isn't 100%.
Yeah.
Don't speak great French, but you're working on it. I mean, that's such a big adventure, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Big respect to you.
Jan says, retired at 60. Myself and my husband moved to Cyprus. No regrets at all. Love the life here, don't miss the weather. Although if you want a fix of snow, it can be found up in the Troodos, where you can go skiing in the winter.
Right.
I'm now 77 years young. My husband died 4 years ago. My son and my friends thought I would move back, but no, my life is here, where I've made many friends. But I did decide to downsize, so I've now got a 2-bedroom bungalow, which I love. To anyone thinking about it, I would say go for it. You can always go back. Life is short. No one knows what is around the corner. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Jan.
That's brave as well, isn't it? At 60 to move out. But it's the whole healthcare thing and the language and
But I suppose that's you putting up, and I mean, don't get me wrong, this is what I am doing. So I
putting up barriers.
You're putting up barriers.
I know.
Rather than looking at the potential positives.
Yes.
Whereas Jan and Marie have thought, no, actually, I'm going to look at what I can gain.
Yeah.
Rather than what I'm going to potentially lose.
Yes, we need to switch our way of thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do they have knitting bees, I wonder, across the world? You could
and if they didn't, I would start one, Kaye.
You could join a network of knitting bees across the world. And that could, because like Ian
across the world
would have he'd join a tennis club.
Yeah.
So I would have to think what I would join.
What would you join? Some Pilates thing?
Some sort of sports thing. But when I texted you last night about something, you said, right, I can't speak to you anymore, I'm going off to my knitting bee.
And do you know what? I didn't even have knitting with me.
What do you do at a knitting bee?
Well, I normally do, but I finished what I was knitting.
No, but what do you do? I mean, is there like 8 of you sitting around knitting?
Yeah, and...
But why do you have to sit with people and
knit? Because they were beautiful, thanks Ray, homemade pancakes that were the size of flaming flying saucers and homemade jam on them. And I tell you, that would get me over any night of the week.
Right.
When I think of the ones that I had made, well, actually, there was slightly less because one woman has hurt her leg and was in hospital for an operation. And then she got a chest infection in hospital.
All right, I don't need too many details. How many people were there?
Let me just think. There was Fiona, Teresa, Ray, me. 4.
I'm regretting asking.
5.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That took 10 minutes for you to say 4.
Well, you should know that if you ask a question, I can't edit it in my head. I actually have been practicing that. No, I've not been practicing it. I've thought about doing it and I'm actually going to actively try and do it. We're in at a time yet.
So what, 4 of you sit there and you each bring out your knitting and you've got a big plate of pancakes in the middle.
Yeah, well, there were shortbread pancakes. There were those little French fancies. There were crisps.
I used to love those.
No, I didn't go near them. They weren't homemade.
My granny used to get me one
on
every Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, my mum
with a wee silver ball on the top.
I don't know. They were just sort of... I've got some Christmas cake with me today, by the way. For you.
Christmas cake?
Yeah, do you remember I only actually got the final thing done yesterday. Like,
remind me, that's
my blowtorch.
That's Christmas cake 2024.
You know it is.
No, forgive me.
Yes, I've decided not to ice it. I was just going to marzipan it and then take the blowtorch to it. And I only got hold of the blowtorch yesterday, so I thought I'd bring you in a wee bit.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that. Elaine says, we've got wonderful friends here in Portugal, all met through dog walking.
Oh, that's a good...
There's a good shout. She says, I don't miss the UK, I miss our family, but we're only 2.5 hours away. Life is short.
So listen, Kate, if you went out for your 2 months, what would you take B with you?
Oh, God. I mean,
what's the maximum time you could be away from B? Or you'd want to be away?
Oh, I don't know. Funny enough, on the radio the other day, maybe I shouldn't say this, we have a travel surgery, Simon Calder, takes questions, and this man phones in and says, I'm going to China for 2 months, can I take my dogs? Like, it's the first time I've ever heard Simon Calder go, No.
Yes, and he went on and on about it.
Sure?
In fact, it would be anyone off China, full stop.
No, 2 months. Well, he was going for 2 months, which is why I wanted to take the dog.
Yes.
No, I couldn't leave her for 2 months.
No, look at that face. She's just looking at you just now. Don't even think about it.
I know. See, she's 12. That worries me. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that.
No,
it upsets me.
yeah.
Here's another email in. This is a good one. Enjoying the podcast. When I moved abroad with my husband, I relied heavily on the local international women's club. I didn't know there was such a thing. There are branches of it all over the world. As the name suggests, the members come from all over. Many of them are, in quotes, trailing spouses, following in the wake of their husband's job.
Good.
And it's easy to be a bit sniffy about that, as I was myself at times, but also about the whole idea of the expat lifestyle. But in the end, I made 2 excellent friends through the club, for which I was very thankful.
Yeah.
I have an aunt and uncle who sadly passed away. They did the expat lifestyle.
Was that right?
They were lovely people.
Did they learn to speak the language?
No, they lived in these kind of communities.
Weird compounds.
All over. They were in South Africa. They were in Iran.
Good.
Oh, they were all over the shop. We've since moved back to the UK, and I found that re-entry after a long time harder than going out.
Oh my God, that's interesting, isn't it?
Post-retirement, we moved to a new town where we knew nobody, and after 3 years, I am still struggling to form any kind of social life.
Oh God, right.
I'm 70. When we were abroad, a woman that I met said that if you hadn't found your feet socially after 2 years in a new place, there was no... I don't know why I'm laughing. There was no hope for you.
Oh, charming.
It's a bit grim, isn't it?
God, that is grim.
I don't think I'd be chatting to her for too long.
No, I know.
I'm hoping that's not true.
I don't think that's the case.
Looking forward to hearing what others have to say on this subject.
Yeah, it's down to your personality, surely to God.
Well, I don't know.
2 years.
But the thing is that I think about you is that you say that you wouldn't particularly need that, and I think maybe you need to be the kind of personality that knows that you're not going to be reliant on a social scene. If you made one, it was fine. If you met people, it's fine. But you're not going to be reliant on it. Whereas I think I'm a bit more needy than you are.
Well,
I mean, like, could you see yourself, like you and Stephen, in an entirely new place that neither of you knew anyone? How would that work?
abroad or in Scotland?
Abroad.
I don't know if Stephen would be able to settle. We've each got our own interests. I think he's got more interests than me, actually. So he's got his music, he's got Spanish. That takes up 70% of his life, I think. And then the music in Spanish.
Can he speak Spanish?
Yeah, he's very good at it.
I think I'll go to Spanish classes with Steve.
Well,
do that?
You could befriend him in Duolingo and be competitive.
I could.
He is very competitive, I have to say.
Is he?
Yes,
right.
yeah.
Well, very good.
Yeah.
So listen, a final wee one because I'm dying to taste some of this Christmas cake. Now get it out while I read this, if you don't mind. This is from Bo Left. We went to Australia in my early 40s, but we couldn't settle. So many
Where
things.
did she go, sorry?
Australia.
Oh, right.
So many things to consider that you don't see when visiting for a holiday. Healthcare, provision of utilities, grocery availability, refuge collection.
In that heat.
Having said that, a friend of mine moved to the other side of the country and is absolutely living her best life. Due diligence is required. So there you go.
Yeah.
We've got one from my friend Donna May London.
All right.
She said, my parents had a better social life in Spain than they do here. One life. Try it. There you go. Right. Well.
Right.
So here it is.
Here's your Christmas
Let me
cake.
get a wee
Now.
Right, there we go. Smile. Right, let me taste it. So, oh my God.
Can you smell it first
Has
of
it
all?
got alcohol in it? Do I smell it first? Oh, yes. Is it
Of
got
course it's
alcohol
got
in it?
alcohol in it. All Christmas cakes got alcohol in it.
What's that bit
All
there?
half decent. That's marzipan.
All right.
And the reason that it's that colour is because I took the hot air gun to it. What do
I
you
can
mean?
feel the glucose coursing through my
course.
veins. Oh my God. How much more do you got left?
Less than 3/4.
I think you're one of the funniest people I know. Do you know that?
Shut up.